No one is coming to save you, not your friends, not your parents, not society, not God. The world will keep spinning whether you rise or rot. And here's the brutal truth. Life doesn't care how you feel. It only responds to how you act. So, if you're broken, tired, lost, good. Because now you have a choice: stay weak or build fire. This is where boys break and men are born. This is the moment you stop asking for peace and start earning it through war. Welcome to Stoicism, where pain is fuel and obstacles are not in the way. They are the way. Let's begin. 1. The power of perception. Control your mind or be controlled. Let's start with a brutal truth. You are not suffering because life is unfair. You are suffering because of how you see life, and unless you master your perception, you will be a slave to your emotions, your past, and the world's chaos. But here's the good news. Your mind is not a cage. It's a weapon, and Stoicism hands you the blueprint to sharpen it until nothing can shake you. Think about this. 2 men wake up to the same storm, same rain, same darkness, same uncertainty. One curses the clouds, blames the world, and sinks into despair. The other sees the storm as training, an opportunity to grow stronger, more alert, more alive. Same world, different eyes. That difference? Perception. The Stoics believed your mind is the only thing you truly own. Everything else, your job, your reputation, your relationships, can be taken from you. But your judgment? Your interpretation of what happens? That's yours, always. Epictetus said it perfectly. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In modern language, the event is neutral. Your reaction is optional. Now, let's get uncomfortable. Let's talk about your pain. The rejection, the anxiety, the overthinking, the fear of what people think, the disappointment you carry in silence. Where does it come from? It's not the event. It's the meaning you attach to it. You didn't just lose her. You decided it meant you're unlovable. You didn't just fail. You decided it means you're not enough. That's not reality speaking. That's your mind, twisted by insecurity and ego. Here's where Stoicism punches through the fog. When something happens, before you feel it, before you react to it, there's a tiny space. And in that space, you get to decide. Will I be a slave to this thought? Or will I challenge it? Will I drown in emotion? Or rise above it with clarity? The Stoic learns to pause, to breathe, to zoom out. And in that space he finds power. Let's say someone insults you. Most people react immediately. Anger, defensiveness, revenge. But a Stoic doesn't flinch. Because he knows that insult isn't truth. It's just noise passing through the filter of his mind. If the insult has no weight, it cannot wound you. Marcus Aurelius said, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't be." That's not delusion. It's discipline. It means you don't give anyone free rent in your head. Let me break it down into something usable, something you can carry with you. The Stoic method for mastering perception. 1. Pause before labeling anything as good or bad. Nothing is good or bad until you interpret it. Lose your job? Maybe it's the push you needed to start your own path. She leaves you? Maybe it clears the way for something stronger. Don't rush to judge. Let the story unfold. 2. Ask, what's under my control right now? You can't control what she said. You can't control the economy. You can't control the storm. But you can control your focus, your breath, your response. 3. See events as training, not punishment. Everything is a test. Pain reveals what's weak. Struggle sharpens what's strong. Every challenge is an invitation to become more. 4. Step back and observe. You are not your thoughts. You are not your fear. You are the observer behind the storm. And once you realize that, you can steer the wheel calmly, powerfully. The problem is, most people live on autopilot. They react. They overthink. They spiral. Their minds are like broken compasses spinning in all directions, ruled by impulse and fear. But you, if you choose the Stoic path, you can become untouchable, not emotionless, no, but emotionally sovereign. The chaos will still come. The pain will still visit, but it won't own you anymore. You'll sit in the storm, fully awake, and say, "This doesn't control me. I decide how this ends." Let me paint you a scene. A man walks through fire, smoke everywhere, screams echo in the distance, but his eyes sharp, his breath steady, his steps deliberate. That man? He's not fearless. He just refuses to let fear dictate his mind. He has trained himself through discipline, through perception, to see fire as fuel. That man is you, if you choose it. Let me give you a modern example. Imagine you post something online. You're proud of it. And then someone comments, "This is garbage. You're an idiot." Most people would rage, delete it, spiral into self-doubt. But the Stoic smiles. He thinks, "This says more about them than me. If there's truth, I'll learn from it. If there's not, I'll ignore it." Either way, he stays in control. He doesn't outsource his peace to strangers. That's what makes him dangerous. So many men today are angry, lonely, bitter, addicted, insecure. Why? Because they've never been taught this truth. You don't have to react to every emotion you feel. You don't have to believe every thought that enters your head. You can sit with it, observe it, let it pass. That is the highest form of power, inner command. So here's the challenge. For the next 24 hours, practice radical perception. Someone annoys you? Smile inside. Don't flinch. Something doesn't go your way? Zoom out. Don't judge. Anxiety hits? Breathe. Don't run from it. Face it. Keep your mind calm, your eyes wide, and your focus sharp. This is how warriors are made, not in the gym, not in the mirror, but in the mind. Remember, the world doesn't need more noise. It needs men who can stay still in a storm. That begins with perception, not just seeing, but seeing clearly. Seeing reality, not through fear, but through strength. And when you train your mind to do that, you'll walk through life like a mountain walks through the wind, unshaken, unbothered, unbreakable. Welcome to the first gate of Stoicism. Walk through it, eyes open, mind sharp. The rest of the path begins here. 2. The burden of expectations. What causes more suffering than failure? Expecting things to go your way. You expected her to stay. You expected them to understand. You expected the world to be fair. And every time reality didn't match your little blueprint, it shattered you. Not because life was cruel, but because you expected it to be kind on your terms. Now read that again. Expectations are contracts you write in your head that no one else agrees to. You suffer not because things went wrong, but because you believed they wouldn't. This is where Stoicism gets uncomfortable. It doesn't coddle your feelings. It doesn't say, "You deserve better." It says, "Why? Did you expect anything at all?" There's a story of a man named Marcus, not Marcus Aurelius. Just a quiet, ordinary man. Marcus believed in loyalty. So when his best friend of 10 years betrayed him in a business deal, he broke. He stopped eating, stopped sleeping, watched his bank account drain, watched his trust vanish. He wasn't just angry. He was ruined. Until a mentor asked him one question. What did you expect him to do? Marcus said, "He was my best friend." And the mentor said, "That's not an answer. That's an expectation." That night, Marcus stared at the ceiling for hours. He realized the betrayal hurt not because it happened, but because he thought it never could. He had projected his values onto someone else. He expected his standards to live in another man's heart. That's not love. That's ego. And ego is the architect of expectations. The silent builder of suffering. Marcus took a notebook that night and wrote one line over and over again. "I expect nothing. I prepare for everything." That became his armor. He didn't grow cold. He grew free. Let's bring this to you. Right now, think about something that hurt you recently. A friend who ghosted you. A plan that fell through. A promotion you didn't get. Now ask yourself, what exactly did I expect to happen? Write it down. Be brutally honest. Did you expect that person to always text back? Did you expect the universe to reward you just because you worked hard? That's the weight you've been carrying. And now, imagine dropping it. Imagine walking into every day with no need for things to go your way. Just a calm readiness for whatever comes. That is Stoic freedom. As Epictetus said, if you want to be invincible, detach from expectations. Here's a truth you're not going to like. You don't suffer when people disappoint you. You suffer when you expected them not to. Your pain is not about the action. It's about your fantasy being broken. But the world doesn't run on your fantasies. It runs on what is. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you stop suffering. This doesn't mean becoming a cold machine. It means becoming someone who welcomes reality as it is. You can still love, still hope, still work hard, but with detachment. Hope without expectation. Love without possession. Work without entitlement. That is Stoic love. That is Stoic strength. Let me show you how this works in real time. Imagine this. You text someone you care about. It's a thoughtful message, vulnerable, honest. Hours pass. No reply. You start spiraling. Did I say too much? Are they ignoring me? I knew I shouldn't have opened up. Your chest tightens. Your mind screams, now pause. What's really happening here? Nothing. All that pain, it's not about the text. It's about the expectation that it would be answered on your timeline, with your preferred tone, with your desired level of enthusiasm. That's ego, not clarity. So here's the Stoic move. Next time this happens, whisper to yourself, I was not owed a response. I chose to send the message. That's it. This single shift will save you from hours of unnecessary suffering. Think of your expectations like anchors. The more you have, the more you're chained to how people act, to how things unfold, to how the world treats you. Stoicism cuts the rope. It says, float. Let the winds blow. Let the rain fall. You don't control the storm. You control your sail, and that sail is your mind. So, if you want peace, drop the burden. Stop expecting them to text. Stop expecting the raise. Stop expecting the applause. Start preparing for what is, and finding power in how you respond, because that's all you ever truly own. 3. You are not your thoughts. Let's get something clear. Not everything you think is true. In fact, most of it. I send single quotes T. You think you're a failure because one thing didn't work out. You think you're unlovable because someone walked away. You think the worst case scenario because your mind is trained for war. But here's what no one tells you. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them. Imagine sitting in a theater. The lights go down. The film begins, but you forget it's a movie. You start screaming when the monster appears. crying when the hero dies, panicking when the screen catches fire. That's what happens every day in your mind. You confuse the screen for reality. You forget you're the audience. This is why Stoicism begins with perception. Because the story you tell yourself becomes the world you live in. If you believe every thought, you become a prisoner of your own noise. There's a quote by Epictetus. It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things. Let that sink in. You weren't destroyed by the breakup. You were destroyed by the belief, I'll never be loved again. You weren't crushed by the failure. You were crushed by the thought, this means I'm worthless. The pain wasn't in the event. It was in your interpretation of the event. And that means you have a choice. Let me show you how this works. Let's say you lose your job. Your thoughts rush in. I'm a loser. I'll never recover. Everyone's judging me. Now, pause, zoom out. These are thoughts, not facts, not prophecy, not divine punishment. They are passing mental weather. You don't have to believe the storm. You just have to observe it. Here's a practice the Stoics used. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, say this. This is just a thought. That's it. It sounds simple, almost too simple. But it's like a sword that cuts through fog. You feel jealousy rise. This is just a thought. You spiral into regret. This is just a thought. You imagine being abandoned again. This is just a thought. And when you say it, something strange happens. The thought loses its power. Because you've stepped outside of it. That's where your freedom lives. Not in stopping thoughts, but in no longer becoming them. Let's go deeper. Every day, you have between 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts. Do you really think all of them are wise, kind, accurate? Of course not. Some of them are paranoid. Some are insecure. Some are echoes from childhood trauma. Some are echoes from the news, TikTok, or your anxious friend. If your mind were a person, would you trust it to guide your entire life? Be honest. Because if you wouldn't, why are you believing everything it says? Here's a simple Stoic rule. Don't trust a thought that comes from fear. Test it, observe it, but don't follow it blindly. When a thought arises, ask, is this true? Is this helpful? Is this mine, or something I inherited? Most of your suffering comes from thoughts you never challenged. You believed your anxious thoughts without proof. You accepted your inner critic as a fact. You listened to mental noise like it was divine instruction, but your mind is not a god. It's a tool. Use it. Don't worship it. The Stoics practiced this with brutal consistency. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's not poetry. That's instruction. It means you might not control what thoughts appear, but you control whether they stay. You can wave at them, watch them pass, and let them go without building your identity around them. That's real power. Let me give you a visual. Imagine sitting by a river. Each thought is a leaf floating by. You don't chase the leaf. You don't fight it. You don't scream at it to be different. You just watch it float. And soon, it's gone. That's what mastering your mind looks like. Not silence, not perfection, but detachment. The storm can rage, but you don't jump into it anymore. You sit by the river. You breathe. You watch. You remain. 4. The power of voluntary discomfort. Let's be honest. Comfort is killing you. Your soft bed, your constant entertainment, your Uber Eats, 2-day shipping, and I'll start tomorrow mindset. Everywhere you turn, the modern world whispers. Make it easy, make it painless. Avoid discomfort at all costs. But the Stoics said the opposite. Choose discomfort. Practice suffering. Train yourself for life before it trains you. This wasn't some macho philosophy. It was survival training for the soul. Seneca used to sleep on the ground once a month. Why? To remind himself that luxury is fragile. That if everything collapsed, he'd still be okay. He wrote, set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition I feared? In other words, rehearse misfortune, so that fear loses its grip. You don't grow stronger by avoiding hardship. You grow stronger by meeting it. Before it has the chance to control you, you fast. Not to punish yourself, but to prove that hunger won't break you. You go without comfort, no phone, no sugar, no noise, not because it's trendy, but because you want your mind back. You take cold showers. You face rejection. You confront what terrifies you, because in doing so, you remember the truth. You can endure far more than you think. Discomfort is not the enemy. It's the gateway. Look around you. The people you admire, the ones with confidence, clarity, courage, they didn't get that way by scrolling Instagram and hiding from fear. They got there by suffering on purpose. They chose pain over numbness, growth over ease, discipline over dopamine, and that's why they shine while others rust. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you want peace, you must train for war. Life will challenge you. Someone will leave. Something will break. The money will run out. The lights will go off. What then? Will you collapse because you've only known softness? Or will you rise because you practiced being uncomfortable when it didn't count? That's the Stoic mindset. Suffer voluntarily so that when fate strikes, you're already ready. Let's bring this home with a question. When was the last time you did something hard on purpose? Not because you had to, but because you wanted to grow. Was it last week? Last month? Never? Start now. Wake up early for no reason. Say no to the sugar, just to prove you can. Sit in silence even when your mind screams. Let yourself feel loneliness instead of numbing it. Walk without headphones. Run until your body says stop and keep going. Not because it's fun, but because every moment of discomfort you endure builds a stronger version of you. Let me show you the truth with a visual. Picture two versions of yourself. One is soft, comfortable, always choosing ease. He looks safe but fragile. One storm and he shatters. The other? He's scarred, weathered, trained by discomfort. He's not afraid of hunger. He's not broken by failure. He's not addicted to luxury. He stands in silence while others panic. And when life knocks, he doesn't flinch. Which version do you want to be? The Stoics didn't glorify pain. They used it as a forge, as a mirror, as a weapon. You can start small. Discomfort doesn't need to be dramatic. It just needs to be deliberate. Each time you choose it, you reclaim power, and power, that quiet, steady, internal kind, can never be stolen. 5. Discipline is the real freedom. Let's flip the script. You've been told that freedom means doing whatever you want. Waking up late, skipping the workout, chasing pleasure, avoiding pain. But that's not freedom. That's slavery to impulse. Stoics knew this. They didn't preach discipline because they were control freaks. They preached it because they understood this simple truth. If you cannot control yourself, someone or something will control you. Let's get brutally honest. You say you're free because you can binge Netflix all night, but you can't go one day without it. You say you're independent because you eat whatever you want, but your energy crashes by noon and you're a slave to sugar. You think you're choosing to scroll for hours, but the truth is, you can't. Stop, that's not freedom. That's addiction with good marketing. Here's what the Stoics taught us. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus, read that again. Freedom isn't waking up and doing nothing. It's waking up with clarity, because you've trained your mind to obey your values, not your urges. Discipline is the key that unlocks real power. When you train yourself to do what's hard, when you say no when it's easier to say yes, when you move toward fear instead of away from it, you build something unshakable, a self you can trust. And when you can trust yourself, you don't fear the future. You don't depend on motivation. You don't collapse when things get hard. You move. You act. You do what must be done, because you've already done it 1,000 times in silence when no one was watching. Let me give you a visual. Imagine two men. The first, he lives by comfort. He wakes when he feels like it. He avoids pain. He drowns in distractions. His schedule is chaos. His goals are vague. And he tells himself, I'm just living life. But he's not living. He's reacting. Now imagine the second man. He wakes with intention. He does the difficult thing first. He controls his thoughts. He's consistent even when no one's watching. He's disciplined, and because of that, he has something the first man will never taste: freedom of the mind. The world wants to keep you soft, keep you docile, keep you consuming. Because soft men are easy to sell to, easy to manipulate, easy to forget. But a disciplined man, he's dangerous, not because he's violent, but because he can't be bought. He can't be shaken. He knows who he is because he forged himself through discipline. Here's the Stoic blueprint to turn discipline into freedom. Wake up when you say you will. Your first battle of the day is with yourself. Win it. Delay gratification. If it feels good now but weakens you later, resist it. Do something hard daily. Train your mind to act, not wait. Make your bed. Clean your space. Order outside creates order inside. Silence the noise. Cut the excess scrolling, gossip, junk food, junk thoughts. Stick to your word. If you say you'll do it, do it. Your self-respect depends on it. But don't confuse this path with perfection. You'll slip. You'll fail. You'll have days when you want to quit. The difference is, you get up anyway, because each small act of discipline is a vote for the person you want to become. And those votes, they compound. Until one day, you look in the mirror and realize you've become someone who cannot be broken because you built yourself that way. So here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, live by discipline, not desire. Wake up when the alarm hits. Do the hard thing first. Ignore the scroll, the snack, the shortcut. And each night, write one sentence. Today, I owned my mind. No excuses, no apologies. Just effort. 6. Mastering emotions without numbing your soul. Let's get something clear. The Stoics were not robots. They didn't suppress their emotions. They mastered them. They felt pain. They felt anger. They felt grief, but they didn't let emotions rule their actions. And that's the power most modern people lack. Today, we confuse emotional expression with emotional intelligence. You're told to feel your feelings, but no one teaches you how to deal with them. So you vent. You rage. You spiral. But what changes? Nothing, except now you're drained, ashamed, and still stuck. Here's what the Stoics believed. You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. Marcus Aurelius let that sink in. Most suffering isn't caused by the thing itself, but by your reaction to it. The insult didn't destroy you. Your ego did. The heartbreak didn't break you. Your attachment Did that the failure didn't define you. Your shame did not, so how do you gain control? Not by running from emotion, not by drowning in it, but by learning how to sit with it without being owned by it. This is the real Stoic art. Feeling deeply, but acting wisely. Let's talk anger. You feel disrespected. Someone cuts you off, talks down to you, lies to you. Your blood rises. Your chest tightens. You want to explode, but you don't. You pause, not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to observe the emotion without acting on it. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of? In Marcus Aurelius, most people react. The Stoic responds. Now let's talk sadness. You feel lost. Maybe you were betrayed. Maybe life hit you hard again. And that ache in your chest? That's real. The Stoic doesn't deny it. He feels it. He sits with it. But he doesn't become it. Because he knows pain is certain. Suffering is optional. The truth is, your emotions are signals, not commands. They tell you where something's wrong, where something matters, where something needs attention. But they are not meant to control your life. When you blindly obey emotion, you become a slave. When you ignore emotion, you become numb. But when you listen, reflect, and choose, you become powerful. Here's the Stoic process for emotional mastery. Name it. Feel something? Call it out. This is anger. This is fear. Naming separates you from it. Pause before action. Create space. One breath can stop a lifetime of regret. Ask, is this useful? Is this emotion helping me act in alignment or sabotage it? Zoom out. Will this still matter tomorrow, next week, next year? Respond with virtue. Act with courage, justice, wisdom, or discipline, no matter the emotion. You are not your emotions. You are the one who watches them, and that awareness, that's your true power. Because once you realize you can observe without obeying, you become unstoppable. Let me leave you with a scene. A man stands in silence. His world is falling apart. His enemies mock him. His friends vanish. He's surrounded by chaos, but his face is calm. His breath is steady. His mind clear, not because he feels nothing, but because he feels everything and still chooses the right thing. That is strength. That is Stoicism. Your challenge? Next time emotion strikes, don't run, don't react. Just observe. Let the fire burn without burning you. Let the storm rage without sinking your ship. And write this down. I am not my anger. I am not my sadness. I am not my fear. I am the one who chooses. 7. Turning obstacles into fuel, the Stoic superpower. Let's end with the most powerful Stoic principle of all. The obstacle is the way, not a roadblock, not a detour. The way. In other words, everything that stands in your way becomes the way forward. Sounds poetic, right? But this isn't just philosophy. It's a weapon. A mindset forged in fire. Every successful man has faced pain. Every wise man has faced failure. Every strong man has been knocked down. But what separates them? They didn't just endure the obstacle. They used it. Marcus Aurelius ruled during plagues, war, betrayal, and death. And yet in his journal he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the Stoic lens. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this trying to teach me? How can I use this?" That shift? That's what turns suffering into strength. Let's get real. You will be rejected. You will fail. You will lose people you love. You will be betrayed. You will have moments where you feel lost, broken, worthless. And in those moments, you'll want to quit, blame others, Feel sorry for yourself. But the Stoic man? He sees these moments as initiation. He doesn't say, I wish life was easier. He says, let me become stronger. Here's how it works. Pain teaches you resilience. Failure teaches you humility. Rejection teaches you clarity. Loss teaches you presence. Obstacles teach you creativity, patience, and grit. Nothing is wasted if you choose to learn. Think of it like fire. Some men get burned. Others become the forge. They don't resist the heat. They step into it and come out sharper. Fire feeds on obstacles. Marcus Aurelius, that's the Stoic way. Every obstacle becomes energy. Every setback becomes fuel. You either let it break you, or you let it build you. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. Suddenly, a massive boulder blocks your path. The average man complains. He sits. He cries. He turns around. The Stoic? He studies the boulder. Maybe he climbs over it. Maybe he goes around it. Maybe he breaks it down piece by piece. But here's the twist. That boulder? It made him stronger, smarter, more resourceful. Without the obstacle, he never evolved. The same applies to you, whatever you're facing. Right now, a breakup that shattered your confidence, a job you lost, a dream that failed, a person who betrayed you, a goal that feels impossible. Don't waste it. Use it. Turn heartbreak into hunger. Turn failure into fuel. Turn betrayal into boundaries. Turn pain into purpose. That's the Stoic mindset. That's the path. So next time something hard happens, remember this. It's not in the way. It is the way. Let every no sharpen your focus. Let every delay deepen your patience. Let every hardship polish your character. Because the man who can smile in struggle, the man who can stand tall in chaos, the man who can say thank you to pain, that man becomes invincible. Write this down. Memorize it. I am not the victim of my obstacles. I am the weapon they forged. Comment. The obstacle is the way. If you've made it this far, you're already walking the path. Now go live it. And remember, you don't need an easier life. You need stronger eyes, stronger breath, stronger purpose. That's what Stoicism gives you. And now it's yours.